I am an introvert, but I do a lot of things that extroverts do. I'm the director of the film program at Yavapai College. I teach. I speak about the program in front of hundreds of high school students. I'm also the founder and executive director of the Prescott Film Festival. There I coordinate over 100 volunteers and a board of directors. I give presentation to various organizations. I work with filmmakers from around the world. I host Q&A screenings after the films, and I present curtain talks in front of the audiences. But as an introvert, I'm supposed to be quiet and shy. I'm supposed to hide behind big books with huge glasses. However, when introverts are motivated, they can be powerful leaders also. We have a lot to say and a lot to do. I had the perfect introvert childhood. This is where I grew up, on 40 isolated acres in Cochise County, Arizona, southern Arizona. The house was about 80 years old at that time, and my favorite spot on those 40 acres was this old, rickety adobe barn. A doctor owned this place in the beginning, and for some reason, every magazine that ever crossed his waiting room floor, he saved. So there ended up being a mountain of magazines from the floor to the ceiling in about a third of that building. And that was my happy place. Because there were magazines starting from about the 1920s through about the 1950s. And you saw where I grew up, in the middle of nowhere. So this was my introduction to the culture of the world. My favorite was National Geographic, because I traveled vicariously through those pages. Reader's Digest, fashion magazines, well, the fashion, yeah. I still like my brooches. And then movie stars, all those things I got to explore through that old adobe barn. I went to college and I had a career as an independent film writer and producer. I stayed home, I wrote scripts, I produced films, and I raised 2 daughters, and that was, again, a perfect introvert existence. After my career in Prescott, after my career in Burbank, we moved to Prescott in 1995. And I could not find anyone in Prescott who had heard of a short film, who had seen independent films, so I decided, well, maybe I could bring it here. Why would an introvert like me even think about stepping outside of my adobe barn? I was motivated by something my mother told me. The only reason we are on this planet is to help others. I found it was time for me to break out of my comfort zone and make a difference, because film festivals do make a difference. They bring the community together. They introduce prickly topics that otherwise you might be afraid to speak about. But if you've just seen a film about that topic, the audience lingers afterwards, and there's conversations, and it's brought that topic to life, and that's magical. We bring films that entertain, inspire, and inform. Those films break out of the mold of something you see at a multiplex. So in 2008, I decided that Prescott needed a film festival, and I started to do the research and build a team of volunteers. As an introvert, it's really difficult to go out and ask for help, but I did it, and I had a really good team of volunteers. Before films screen at our film festival, there's always a researched curtain talk given by, me, who would rather be in that adobe barn surrounded by all of those magazines. The first time that I had to go speak in front of the audience, I was paralyzed to go up in front of the stage. I was surrounded by a group of really good volunteers, though, who encouraged me and said, you can do this, but I was still paralyzed, and I literally broke out in a rash on my chest. I did not want to go up there, but I did it. And I did it again and again and again, and after about a year and a half, I stopped getting the rashes. It was great. So in this year, as part of the Prescott Area Leadership coursework I'm doing, I took a DISC personality test. Essentially, this tells you where you are, what kind of a leader you could be, what type of personality you have. I wanted so badly to be the D, to be that green section. The stereotypical leader types, goal-driven, direct, those are great words. But I was an S. I was in the blue category. And at first I was disappointed, but I shouldn't have been. As a society, we've pigeonholed those D personality types as the only folks who can be leaders. Many of us introverts long to fit into that stereotypical category, to be like the extroverted leaders we see in history. Winston Churchill, Steve Jobs, Margaret Thatcher, they're all extroverts. But according to a recent study in the Harvard Business Review, only 2% of leadership people identify as introverts. 2%. That means our world is being run by extroverts. And where do you think that's gotten us? I think we need the introvert voice. The world needs those unique voices from the introverts, and sometimes those introverted leaders rise to the top, like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Steven Spielberg. The introverts amongst us can and should use our unique leadership and team-building skills to make the world a better place. It can be in small ways or large ways, but we can all be leaders. How did I get over my huge fear of public speaking? It was role-playing. I would walk on the stage, take a deep breath, and pretend that I was a confident, outspoken public speaker. Fake it till you make it, and it's an ongoing process. Introverts may like to spend time alone, but that's not a bad thing. It's thinking time, we've time to mull over emails, time to think about things. We're really good team builders also, and we're great listeners. As part of my work for the college, I produce and direct in-house videos. And one year we did a campus safety video. It was based on an idea I presented to my screenwriting instructor. And then our cinematography class shot it and edited it. And someone I respected in the field said, "You know, this is pretty good. You should be submitting it to awards." And I thought, oh, okay. It took me a little while to get over my insecurity about that. But I did submit it to the Emmys Rocky Mountain Educational category. It's called Campus Safety During an Alien Invasion. And we won. So take my mother's advice. Move out of your Adobe barn. Ignore the rash on your chest. Get in front of your audience and ask, what do you want to do to change your world? What can you do to change your world? Thank you.